Hi, this is Lindley Gillum, and so my article this week is called Composting is an Alternative Management Strategy for Sargassum. I hope I'm saying that right. Drifts on coastlines. So, sargassum is a seaweed that is found in like the Gulf, the Atlantic Ocean, and other places where there's large bodies of water. And this seaweed causes massive drifts. It reproduces asexually by fragmentation, so that causes it to just be able to spread quickly. So this study was actually done in Texas on a beach that is a tourist, in Corpus Christi, that's a tourist destination. And every year they have to go in during the spring and summer and rake this or scrape this mechanically off of the beaches. What they usually do is pile it into dunes, but they're losing beach space due to erosion and other things like that. So their thought was, what if we could use this as compost? So there's actually 150 types of species of sargassum out of the 10,000 types of seaweed algae that live. Composting itself is a biochemical process which microorganisms such as bacteria and fungi convert organic matter, and also it improves soil fertility. So if this could be used as a benefit in the horticulture industry, it could be as economic useful. So the purpose of this study was to evaluate the potential to manage the invasive species and test the quality against normal compost that's used in horticulture. So what they done is the city of Corpus Christi removed the biomass from the shoreline with the help and approval of the Army Corps of Engineers. So they got it, they dried it. It dries shrunk 2 yards after it dries, and it turns brown. Half of it was harvested and manually washed with tap water and screened to filter out all the impurities, and the other half of it was left alone. So there were a total of 6-foot high piles, 10 foot wide, that they created. And so they mixed it with food from the kitchen cafeteria at Texas State University, wood chips that were donated by a local tree company, and this was all replicated like 3 different times. So it was put on a 5-acre plot. 2 of it was allocated to the compost site, and the other 2 served as runoff space. So again, every 5 to 7 days they turned it regularly, just as you would a regular compost, and it was monitored using industry standards. So after they cured it, samples were drawn from the compost. There were 15 subsamples representative of each pile, and what they tested for was moisture content, organic matter, pH, that's important as far as being able to use it horticulturally, total carbon, total nitrogen, and other nutrients. What they found was, in the end, a total of 25 yards of compost was created, and it averaged at about $900 in value for the market. So what the results were is they found that the measurements of all of these, pH and all, were actually within the desired ranges of what horticulture industry uses. So they feel like that this was a good study. However, it's preliminary, and they feel more discussion needs to be thought of and published or researched. Possibly, if it's gonna work the same, is it economically a good thing? Is it going to cost too much? How are they going to do it as far as equipment if they do this on a large scale? So again, the cost benefit analysis is something they need to check into for future studies. I think this is a great idea if the cities have the money to do this, to turn around and utilize this in other parts of the city, if they can afford the labor. So I think a question would be, what would labor cost be to try to keep this off the shoreline, since it's only a couple of months out of the year. Overall, I thought this was a very good paper.